Good evening. This is the weekly roundup, a quick review of the top stories which made headlines during the week. I am Unique Zimoto, and here are the headlines. Double nominations rock Triple C. Ngonzora falters ahead of polls. Gold dealer Scot freebies divides Mabvuku Tafara. BT turns down Senate seat, heads Chamisa campaign. Rapist deserted by wife and kids. Now here's the news in greater detail. Despite the Triple C managing to file papers in all 210 constituencies and presidency to go toe-to-toe with President Emmerson Mnangagwa's party, the opposition gifted the ruling party with free council seats. Double nominations could have also gifted ZANU-PF potential wins. The opposition has, however, since accused Zimbabwe Electoral Commission and security agencies of being behind the double nominations.
What I'm going to tell you today is testament to the fact that ZANU-PF failed to compromise our own signatories. They failed to penetrate our own systems. So what did they go and do? They went and forged our logo. They literally took a photocopy and then they stuck it there, and then they forged signatures. And then they created the 20-odd double candidates that you see across the country for National Assembly and a number of others throughout the wards. So I want to put it beyond doubt that anywhere where you see more than one Triple C representative, only one of them was duly nominated by us and properly signed for. An important point to make is that we have filed objections in terms of the Electoral Act to people whose names appear on our lists and were not signed for by us.
MDCT, led by Douglas Ngonzora, bungled its nomination processes Wednesday as internal fissures continue to grow within the organization. The party had promised to give an update, but it appears they have been struggling with that too. Gold dealer Scot has taken Mabvuku Tafara constituency by storm, using his financial muscle to attract attention from voters. The entry of Sakupwanya has shifted the once opposition safe haven into a battleground between ZANU-PF and Triple C. Kevin Sitole was in Mabvuku and filed this report.
Mabvuku Tafara constituency, a traditional hunting ground for the opposition, has just turned into a battleground with ruling ZANU-PF party going for broke after it fielded what could be a game changer in the battle for power. The entry of gold dealer and self-made millionaire Scot throwing money like confetti could shift the sands under Nelson Chamisa's Triple C. The electorate has been divided by the aggressive Sakupwanya, who upset Triple C in the March 26, 2022 by-elections when he won in council by-elections, taking a seat in the local authority. He has now taken to using personal wealth to feed constituents and potential voters, while at the same time repairing infrastructure which is now in a state of decay.
Zvekunzi Scot Sakupwanya ane vanhu vari kubatsira zvinotozikanwa nevanhu vacho vari kubatsirwa. Inini handina help yandakambowana kubva kwaari, ende majority yemayouth haina help yakambowana kubva kwaari. Kune mastructures avo ekupati kwawo kwavanopanana zvavanopanana ameno machikeni ini mahamba. Inini handisi kuda kuhamba, ende mai vangu ndotorwadziwa kana ndikaona mai vangu vachiita toyi vachienda kuhamba. Noti ndozvandofunga ende zvokuti kana vari maleaders chaivo ngava create employment. Vaka create employment, inini kungoudza mai vangu kuti mai vangu munoenda kuhamba kunoitei, kadhi rangu iri endai munotenga grocery. Mai vangu oi mari ende munotenga grocery. Hawana need yekuti mai vangu vapuwe hamba. Vanhu vari kunopuwa mahamba ma 40 years 50 years vamwe vachanokwanisa kutozvishandira. Vacreatereka employment. Isusu tikungoda one leader anotipa chirauro 1 ne3 mawems. Tikangopuwa chirauro 1 ne3 mawems, tinobata fish dedu 3, tikabata fish dedu 3, 1 todya, 2 totengesa, totenga mamwe mawems 10, nechirauro chimwe chechi2, ndodaidzawo shamwari yangu yepa next door, ndoti chawoko chirauro chine 5 mawems, indinewo chirauro changu ne 5 mawems, tichitoenderera mberi, ndozvinhu zvatiringoda zvinoendesa nyika kumberi.
Zvekuvhota. Mudara I want to change mudara. Tinomuchinja mudara. Every day mudara takutenge mapenzi mudara mulife. That makes sense. Una chekutanga una mungongwa apa mungongwa ni makore mangani pa
31 years
ni payslip
andina
achibatsire mdara
vanhu mhainzana nemusangano weopposition party kuna Scot vanogona kuwina but hazvikundikani. Scot anoramba akatsika chepakati.
Mabvuku Tafara will be a battleground constituency, no doubt, and will even indicate the face of presidential poll result. For Chamisa and his party, they will bank on winning big in the urban areas and hope for decent margins in the rural areas. If they lose urban areas such as Caudry Park, where Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube is flexing his financial muscle, and Mabvuku, then the road to State House could all but be thorny. Kelvin Stolle, HSTV News and Current Affairs, Mabvuku Tafara.
Tendai Biti all but quashed speculation that he will turn on his party leader, Nelson Chamisa, after what appeared to be a fallout within the opposition. Biti, who lost in the party internal selection process, will now play a leading role in Chamisa's bid for presidency. Insiders said Biti turned down an offer to take a senatorial seat and instead opted to propel his president to power and take a lofty position in government.
We are a presidential republic, and our campaign is going to be basically a presidential. Our focus is not to be in parliament, but to be in government. We have been in parliament for a long time. That's not our station of choice at the moment. Our station of choice is government. So you will see Mr. Biti in government. He's going to play a pivotal role in the campaign that we're waging very soon, because he's part of that government, and that is what we are offering to Zimbabweans.
60-year-old Bobby Makaza, the rapist who made headlines for heaping praise and wax lyricing President Emmerson Mnangagwa following his release on a presidential amnesty, has been deserted by his wife and children. Makaza, who was supposed to serve an 18-year prison sentence for raping his 11-year-old niece, only served 4 years before benefiting from amnesty. Our reporter Vimbai Mabaira gives us this report.
60-year-old Bobby Makaza of Joan Masoe Echishanu was released from prison by President Emmerson Mnangagwa through an amnesty which many believe was granted under controversial circumstances, is heartbroken and faces a hard time as he tries to rebuild his life. Having got on the bus from Chikurubi Maximum Prison to Murewa, Mairos village, Makaza was expecting to pick up from where he left, but alas, he came back to a dilapidated home with no food, no shelter or family, turning joy to sorrow.
Aiwa mushandi uyu wandinawo parara kwakaita vana hapana mudzimai avaripo hapana zvinhu zvekupfeka hapana zvekudya hapana imba yakapana inoda uswa huda kuti kupfirira hapana kana chokutomburi ndibate asi nokudaro ndinongotenda kuti upenyu ndakaupiwa ndinawo zvimwe nezvimwe zvinozoitika hazvo mashure asi chinodiwa kufadzana nevamwe vangu vandakanga ndakagara navo munharaunda.
Baba vakanga vane mukadzi wakanga vanaye vakasiya mwana anenge angane gore here saka mwana uya amai vacho vakazotizirawo kune mumwe murume vangosiya mwana uya muraini.
Many were angry over President Mnangagwa's move in awarding a rapist amnesty, especially given the fact that he violated a child who stays in the community he was released back into. Some believe that this was a political gesture as the country heads to a general election. Reporting for HSTV and Newsday, Kelly Mabaire, Murewa, Mairos Village.
Opposition CCC gifted ZANU-PF a total of 53 council seats ahead of August 23 polling day after they failed to file candidates in most of the wards. ZANU-PF has taken the donation and is now looking to consolidate its stronghold on power. Party political commissar Mike Bima speaks.
So I'm excited that the process yesterday went through and that all our plans are now in place. And I'm advised that we now have 53 uncontested positions in our councils. So already in the bag, we are so happy, and congratulations to these 53 members who are now right through without running a big race. And so this is very pleasing, 53 uncontested seats in the local authority.
ZANU-PF leader President Emmerson Mnangagwa heads to Chipinge, where he launches his party campaign and party manifesto. Hoping to serve his second and final term of office, Mnangagwa is leaving nothing to chance. We turn to Bima.
I think our launch of our campaign comes in handy. We are launching the ZANU-PF campaign this coming Saturday, and that will be held in Manicaland, at Mutema Secondary School, which is in Chipangai area. And the people whom we expect to come from there, to come to this very important occasions, is basically all our candidates.
Zimbabwe Electoral Commission has said it will spend more than 100 billion Zimbabwean dollars in the August 23 general elections. The ZEC Deputy Chief Elections Officer, Tongai Simbarashe, addressed the media.
With regards to the budget, our initial budget was around 102 billion. As to is it adequate, what I can say proactively, most of the needs we have procured them on time. So in terms of the key electoral materials, we have since gathered them and procured them. But you also appreciate that mid-year, the MDA is allowed to submit, revise their budget, take into consideration the inflationary issues.
ZEC has also said it had 6 million registered voters in an election. ZANU-PF has said its presidential candidate will win with 5 million votes. ZEC Deputy Chief Elections Officer struggled to read out the number of registered voters.
With the number of registered voters, we have 6,598,523. 6,598,523.
Now joining me in studio is our head of news and current affairs, Blessed Muhlanga, to help give us some perspective on the nomination court. Blessed, welcome to the weekly roundup. And it seems CCC said it had candidates for all vacancies, but as we know now, they failed to deliver. What do you know?
So basically, the CCC has said that some of its council candidates lost out on the nomination process, basically because they had poor passport size quality pictures. Now we know that in Mvurwi RDC, total of 12 council candidates were disqualified because of poor picture quality. But what we also know is that the CCC had said it was using what it called strategic ambiguity. Many critics warned that it is doing its nomination process is late, that a lot of confusion is going to come out of it. And we also know that in Bulawayo, where there are 29 wards, all 29 wards in council have double nominations. Now this is the result of some of the strategic ambiguity that Nelson Chamisa was talking about, and it has made a lot of people who are supporting and rooting for the opposition very, very unique.
Interesting times. I mean, bad quality passport size pictures.
Yeah, amazing. You just can't make that up, can you?
No, you can't.
But it's also understandable. These are rural areas,
yes,
you know.
Yes.
And also they left it a little bit late because they could have if they had enough time, they could have looked for a better camera person.
Yes.
But it tells you what our rural areas are like.
And going to ZANU-PF, what are your expectations around the Chipinge rally, where we know that ZANU-PF is launching its manifesto? Do we have any surprises there?
Absolutely no surprises. I mean, the ZANU-PF is known for canvassing its supporters. Huge rallies they've always had, but critics and also just being on the ground, you realize that there'll be a lot of buses coming. I mean, this is going to be the launch, the Star Rally, so you expect everyone to be coming from Lawayo, using state owned Zupco buses, school buses. You also expect, I'm expecting as well to see, because they have been using Chillsport records a lot lately for their campaign, so you expect to see those entertainers coming through. You'll also expect to see President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who's not going to seek re-election because of the constitutional limit that says that he can only serve for 2 terms. So he's not stopping for anything. He's going to try and railroad this and put this in the bag.
I guess Chipinge is going to be quite interesting. Is Houghton still going to be there?
We are going to be represented.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Fantastic. And Kasukuwere just came into the picture. And do you think that Kasukuwere is going to be a factor in these elections?
Let's look at the history of elections in Zimbabwe, and you will find that Zimbabwe has been a two-party state for a very, very long time. So you'll have ZANU-PF and the opposition. The opposition, which has manifested into a lot of different names since 1999. First the MDC, now then the MDC-T, the MDC Alliance, and now we're seeing it in the CCC. Now, this is the politics of Zimbabwe. Will Kasukuwere be able to change it? My guess is that he'll have to work very, very hard, because it'll be a shock to have an independent candidate coming in to become a president. That's the first thing. The second thing is, what happens around Kasukuwere when he lands into the country, because he's got a standing warrant of arrest, and a lot of people, because of the politics of fear that has been in this country, might not want to be appearing at Kasukuwere's rally if he's going to have any, because he's appealing mostly to ZANU-PF, right? And we know what happens when people openly rebel against ZANU-PF. I mean, we have seen this, it has been documented. So if he doesn't have the star rallies, the big numbers, people are not going to be convinced. So it's going to be a tough call for him, but he has certainly grabbed media headlines. He has certainly pulled out a bit of some shocker. But we saw this with the Joyce Mjuru. She went on BBC, she went across the country, and a lot of people were supporting her. She came out of ZANU-PF. She didn't even do well. We saw this with Dr. Simba Makoni, came out of ZANU-PF, put his hat in the presidential candidate, didn't bring anything. So it is going to be an interesting election, unique to watch, and Helen Soul is going to follow it and bring people the things that they need to know.
Fantastic. Heart and Soul is definitely going to be following. Thank you so much to our head of the news and current affairs, Blessed Mahlanga. Now, this is all we had time for. This was the weekly roundup. Thank you for joining us on HSTV in News. We will be back again next Friday, same time. From me, Unique Zimuto, and the crew behind the scenes, enjoy the weekend ahead. Good night.